Hey everyone, and welcome to Not the Newsletter episode 3, where we spend more time unpacking technology, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and whatever other things our guests want to talk about. So today we're here with Sarah Mathison from the Lutheran High School Association of Greater Milwaukee, which is a very long thing to say, and that's probably why you guys always use the acronym, right?
Yeah, LHSAGM, which is not any easier.
No, it's not. It's very confusing.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah, and it's such a long acronym, it almost looks like a word, and so I always get confused when I see it. I'm just like, is that a word or a thing? And so I always get, so welcome to the show, Sarah. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. When we were talking earlier, you said that you have been invited to many podcasts.
Many is a over exaggeration. Yeah, like a couple.
Okay, a couple. We'll take that.
Yeah.
And you've never said yes to any of them, so we're honored to have you here. We're excited to talk about what you have. I did get a peek at your list earlier, and there was many things on there, so I'm excited to see what's on there and to see if we can unpack some of those things. So the first thing is, what is the Lutheran High School Association of Greater Milwaukee, and what is your role there?
Yeah, that's a good question. We are, I kind of like to say that we're a school district of private Lutheran schools. So we have 5 different schools in the greater Milwaukee area. 4 of them are high schools, and then we have 1 grade school. So our name is a little bit of a misnomer now because we added a grade school. But
I guess I always thought that was high schools too. Is that new, the grade school?
Yeah, like a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago. Yeah, so relatively new. Not new in the area. Like it's we
bought a school.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Sounds weird to say like
it does
that.
Sound,
yeah.
But that's what happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we
inherited. Maybe that's a better way to inherit a school.
We partnered. Yeah.
Which one is these? So we've got Martin Luther, Milwaukee Lutheran, and I went to Milwaukee Lutheran. That's like an interesting thing.
Yes.
That's part of the connection a little too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have
Trinity?
Milwaukee Lutheran is our oldest or our like first location. Which actually happens to be the oldest Lutheran high school, I think, in the country, or maybe definitely in Wisconsin. Okay. And then Martin Luther was our second school. Then we added LCL, and then Mount Calvary, and our newest one, new this year, was their first school year, is Trinity Lutheran Classical.
Okay, so that's a high school as well then?
Yes, that one is a high school.
So Calvary is the grade school then?
Mount Calvary, yeah. Okay. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. There are a bunch of cuties over there.
Are they?
Going there. Yeah, it's so fun. Like, grade schools are so fun. The kids are, like, just so excited to see you. They call me Miss Sarah with the good hair. Like, that's literally my name there. So I walk in.
Your hair's always that good?
I like to think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Probably not. I mean, my husband would say no.
Okay.
But I like to think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like that's usually the case, right? I feel like you've always done the curls and the... No? Is it changed?
Yeah, it's kind of recent. Yeah, like the last couple of years, I started going hard after the curls. Yeah, I sleep in this like hair wrap thing, which like
you really?
Yeah, you're a dude. You like do not care about this at all.
That's complicated.
This doesn't pertain to technology at all.
It absolutely does. That's how we get these podcasts to an hour. We talk about random things first, and then.
So I sleep in this hair wrap, and then I just wake up, and it kind of looks like this. So yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Is it worth it?
So worth it. It's like actually pretty comfortable. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll have to try it sometime.
Yeah. You asked what I did there. Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, that would be good too.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Keep going on the actual agenda.
Yeah. I'm the marketing manager for the association. So that's also what we call it. I just call it the association.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's easier. I might steal that.
Yeah, you can. No worries. Okay. So I do marketing there. So internal and external, which is really fun. And then there's like so much that falls under marketing, especially in like, I feel like the nonprofit world, you just get like, you do everything. When it's like, you're the marketing manager, like it's all the marketing.
It's kind of a small organization, right? From like an administration perspective.
Yeah. I guess I don't know exactly how many employees we have that are like association employees, but then obviously we have all of the teachers. So like, and all the school staff and stuff.
Right, but just from an association, people that are in charge of the website and the back end and the marketing and the events, that's probably not that big of a team, right?
The marketing team is myself, my boss, and then my coworker, Sherry.
Okay.
So, and then we partner pretty heavily with like our advancement team, and that's like four or five guys.
Sure.
So
I'm glad that your boss doesn't have a name. That's good.
Oh, her name's Christine.
That's fine. We know. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah. She's pretty great. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's fun. I like print designs, graphics, websites, social media. I help out with events a lot. And then I also get to oversee all of our videography and photography. So like all the creative stuff. And then one of the things that I love most.
Should they call you just the creative director then? That seems more like
yeah, honestly.
fitting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is pretty fun. All the creative stuff. Yeah. My boss says I have a colorful personality, so I feel like that like matches my.
Yeah, it matches the colorful.
Yeah, my colorful nails.
Polish this morning. Yeah. Great for a podcast.
Yeah.
Jazz hands or something. Let's try to get that into the.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that's kind of what I do. And then a lot of storytelling too with that, like videography, storytelling, and written storytelling.
So what got you into sort of marketing storytelling? Is there a backstory behind that at all?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I was in college, or I guess when I took a gap year between high school and college, and like communications was actually my degree. So I studied organizational communications with emphasis in nonprofit, which is also a mouthful. So apparently I just
that was an actual path.
Yes, organizational communications with an emphasis in nonprofit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I did that, and then I also did studio art. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So I was like, oh, I should.
Why though? Was there a reason? Did you feel?
Honestly, like I literally like had the thought. My mic sounds really weird.
Yeah. I think Silas is turning your gate up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
It just cuts off a little faster.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I was transitioning from I was in my gap year between high school and college, and someone was like, oh, communications is this like cool field that you would probably be really interested in. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So I'm just going to do that now. So like literally that's how I started.
One person was just like, you need to go this way. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So
they knew you well enough to know you were extroverted and creative.
Yeah. Well, I always knew that I wanted to do, I wanted to study art in college, but I wanted to make money as well. And so I was like, if I just study art, I'm literally going to be a starving artist my whole life. And that just like doesn't really sound very fun to me.
Sure.
So I do still say this, that I got a communications degree to like be able to make money. And I got an art degree. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And I got an art degree because it's like what I love to do. And then now like I'm in marketing, and it's a really great blend of the two. So.
Sure. So you're in charge of the website too. You said some events too.
Yeah, definitely some events, yeah.
What's next for the events? Because I'm on the events page and it says there's no upcoming events.
Oh my gosh, that's because I need to update it. Don't.
Oh, sorry. This is bad. I wasn't trying to call you out.
Oh, Chris, this is so awkward now.
and we now know your boss's name. So this is also it's twice bad.
Yeah.
I thought there was a golf event happening at some point, right? Or is that?
Yeah.
That's like a different website probably though, right? Because that's for.
Yeah, we have different golf outings for each of the high schools.
Those wouldn't be on your website. Are you not in charge of those? Is that someone else?
Someone else is in charge of them. Yeah, Sherry.
Okay.
She runs those, but I probably should put them on our website. I just haven't.
It's cool.
We just had one golf outing.
It's our fault. That was on your calendar right now to be putting those on the events page, and because you're here instead,
you're right.
Growing the brand for the Lutheran High School Association of Greater Milwaukee.
Exactly.
There's no events on the page.
Yeah. So yes, it's all your fault. That's exactly why. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. Fine. So this year the big dinner was at the Pfizer Forum. Are you guys going to be able to match the grandeur of that for next year?
I don't know that we'll match the grandeur for next year. We are at the Baird Center. They have like new rooftop venue, which is pretty exciting. So we'll be definitely not they just opened. So we won't be one of the first events there, but hopefully, it'll still be pretty new at that point. So that'll be kind of fun. But I don't know. A bit of a teaser. We might go back to
Pfizer Forum. Yeah. It was cool because obviously people probably know the Pfizer Forum, but you guys had graphics like everywhere. You had all the TVs lit. I didn't even know I was looking at some of that just from a technological perspective. Like, what resolution are those banners that go around the outside? It's like 65,682 by like 10, because they're like...
No, actually, legitimately was. It was like by 14, pixels high. Yeah. It was like nuts, yeah. I literally, I keep saying, I peaked. Where do I go from here? Nothing will be as cool as that.
The downside is I don't think anyone else probably was even getting... so I'm just sitting there with my family. I'm just like, guys, I think you might have even been nearby at this point, so maybe you've overheard me, but I'm just like, what resolution is that? It keeps going all the way around the thing. I'm like, it's got to be oh my some crazy number by 10 or 15 or something.
I want to say it was 32,850 or something like that, which is that's a ballpark number.
Bonus points if that's accurate.
Yeah, I'll look it up after this. I'll let you know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So no, it was really fun. It was super cool. I got to go up in the control room and they put up all my graphics, and honestly, the ribbon that goes all the way around was the hardest one. I learned about striping, which is not a term I had ever heard of before.
What does striping mean?
It basically means you have to set up your file in this really janky way to get it to wrap around and be continuous in the right way. I don't know.
They don't just take a flat. They just don't take a flat 35,000 whatever pixel image.
No, they don't. They stack it on top of one another, but like they shift it over. The bottom stacked is like shifted over by a third. It's really weird.
That is weird.
But it has to like start with the end of the previous, like, I don't know. It's really hard to explain.
Got it.
I was very,
it all out. Yeah.
It was really confusing. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. You just kind of follow their instructions and put it into Photoshop. It's like, oh, it works. Okay.
Yeah. I do use Illustrator more, so that it made it a little easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, that was very exciting.
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
It was a good event.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as like marketing and graphics go, like I've peaked. So.
That was it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Like it's all downhill from here. I'm only like 29.
So is any of your like marketing, do you see technology tie into how you do that? I mean, kind of like for the Pfizer Forum, do you find some of that where technology and stuff has to integrate with your job?
I mean, in terms of like my work, I pretty much am on my technology. Like I'm on technology all day long.
Sure.
Doing my job.
Do you feel like you're slightly more technologically savvy because of that than other people generally?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like if you ask my mom, I'm like the most technologically advanced person that she knows.
So you're her support department when
totally.
she has problems for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, like she calls me and is like, Sarah, I can't figure out how to duplicate this slide. Will you help me duplicate this slide? I'm like, Mom, literally like right click, copy, paste.
See, as a tech nerd, I would think of the like the keyboard shortcut.
Yeah, well, I did totally start to like teach her keyboard shortcuts, and she writes them down on a notepad and keeps them by her computer.
Nice.
Which is really cute.
As long as it's not passwords, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
No comment.
No comment. She has a password book. Yeah. But
I don't know where I was recently. I was somewhere setting up something for someone, and their passwords were their desktop background.
No, are you joking?
I'm not joking. So I'm sorry.
That's really
I'm
bad.
sorry if you know who you are that's watching this, because maybe they'll watch this. But I was on their computer working on something, and it was just like a gigantic list of their passwords on the desktop. I was like,
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's why we do these. So if that's you.
No, I use one of those password managers, which is like shameless plug. Like it's literally the best thing ever. Like I don't ever have to remember any of my passwords. I have one master password that I know and I remember
and you turn multi-factor authentication on so no one's going to get that.
Exactly. So,
right. And then those passwords can all be 30 characters long because you don't really care what the password is anymore. No. It's just like, you want to pick one? Sure. I don't care. It's 40 characters long. It doesn't matter.
Totally.
And then they're all different. So if anyone gets any one of your passwords, they haven't got access to your whole life.
It's great. It really is great because I also have we use a lot of different random technology. And so I have a ton of accounts that I have to log into all the time. So I do feel bad sometimes because we'll share accounts. Like we're a nonprofit, we share accounts. Sure. And I'll be like, hey, here's my login for like X platform that I'm subscribed to, and it'll be literally like 30 characters long, and I'm like, hey, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I know you're gonna have to type this in, and so I apologize every time you have to log into this thing.
Just like copy and paste it because it's like, I feel guilty.
So what is your password manager of choice?
I was using LastPass, but they had a data breach, so I switched to 1Password.
It's at that point a little bit too late though, right? You're like, that's bad.
Yeah, it's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Guys, like, aren't you supposed to be like the most secure thing? Like, I put all my faith and trust in you, and now you have a data breach.
It's literally your one job.
I know. Like, your job is to keep my stuff secure. Right. So, yeah.
Those are ironic. I feel like SolarWinds had that recently too, where they're literally the company that builds like the networking equipment and software that sort of like determines how to find computers and all these different things, and they're just like kind of a security company.
Yeah.
And they had a breach recently too, and you're just like, you feel like you're gonna hire nerds mostly, right? You know, so it's like it's not like internally you should have an issue of someone just being like, yeah, I'll have that virus, please. And so you're like, I'm confused as to how these things happen. Like, how do these tech companies have an issue? Because
I don't know.
It shouldn't really happen.
No, I agree.
But that's good to use it. Password manager. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do. I do love it. Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
So sorry for the person that I maybe threw under the bus a little bit. So
I threw my mom under the bus, so I think I'm like I'm worse than you. So
don't let anyone come on the podcast that you know, because you might get thrown under the bus.
Yeah.
It's not even a podcast. It's more of a show because I don't know.
Yeah.
We just have podcasting mics for the sake of that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel pretty cool.
Do you? Yeah. It's a pretty cool setup, isn't it?
Yeah. It is.
And we set this up like a couple weeks ago. You're our second actual real guest. So
wow.
Yeah.
I really do feel honored.
It's pretty honored, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so cool. Like this is like, it feels weird because you're just like, I can't believe I get to do this. This seems kind of surreal that we have all these cameras and lights and stuff. It's fun. Yeah. But I'm curious if you have any questions for me. You said you had a giant list of things.
Well, I mean, you sent me a list of questions that you kind of want to talk through. Yeah. But I was curious because you asked about technology in schools. Yeah. And like how
specifically as it related to, I think my question was artificial intelligence, right? Do you see some of that ending up? I know it's on every conversation now. Do you see some of that in the like high school agendas or in the classroom? Do you see any of that? Like,
yeah. So I asked our head of schools because he's like a really cool dude and like very smart. Yeah. Another like cool person that I get to work with, but because I've only been with the association for a little over a year, and I'm not like actively teaching in classrooms. So I was like, I called him up and I asked him like, hey, what do you think about this question? Like, how do you see AI coming into the classrooms and stuff, and just like tech in general? Maybe I'll start with tech in general. Okay. Because we kind of were talking about how, like, I even remember back, and I'm sure you can too, when you were in high school, there was probably like fairly minimal tech in the classroom.
Yeah. Yeah, none. No, it was like there was a computer lab maybe, but
that was about it. Yeah, like there was still computer labs when I was in high school, and that was like a really normal thing to have to go to the computer lab to like log into something or whatever. And you used a computer lab to like research. Yeah. Like you didn't use, and then I would like go home and like maybe type a paper on my computer or whatever. But like there was pretty much no like laptops in classrooms, none of that. Like we had smart boards and that was kind of cool. And I do remember a little bit more like they had started to get maybe like those Chromebook carts. Yeah. And I feel like
plug the whole thing into the wall and then
Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of like started. But then I remember when my younger sister's only 4 years younger than me. But when she went to high school, she needed a computer, like a laptop, and she brought it to school. Yeah. And like that, she did that every day. Like everyone had a computer and everyone brought it to school. And so I feel like there was this like kind of adoption of technology over the last like, I don't know, decade, and like this movement towards technology and embracing it and using it, like harnessing its power in the classroom, because it is really powerful and it's like a really great tool to be able to use. Yep. But then I feel like the pandemic hit.
You feel like the pandemic hit?
Yeah, like it did hit actually.
Okay. I just was checking. I didn't know. I could have missed something. It's happened before.
Yeah, it did hit, and everyone was all tech all the time. Yeah. And then since then, our head of schools was talking about how like, just like parents now are like, hey, I don't want my child to be on technology all the time. Like during the pandemic, everyone had to be on tech all the time, and so there's just been this movement now back away from technology. Not necessarily like, hey, we don't want any technology. It's just like, how do we use it more thoughtfully?
Yeah. Yeah. We want to use technology for like achieving the thing we need technology for. And then we want to stop at the end of that.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. And I think that's kind of like AI is so new. So like kind of to bring it to AI. Yeah. And like a topic of conversation there. Like AI is so new that I don't think schools really know how to use it thoughtfully yet. Yeah. So yeah,
but it's definitely getting used. Like even if it's not part of the classroom, they know the students are using it, right? Like that's got it right. So
totally.
I think that's the interesting question is, I think in the workplace you can create like a AI policy and probably control a little bit of what people are allowed to use. And if they don't obey, you can actually just like, no, we're going to block them at some point. But it's interesting to think about them in the classroom perspective because you'd almost want to bring it in, right? Because otherwise just leave them to their own devices and then their entire papers are being written by AI, right? Like not that you couldn't tell, because you probably can. They'd probably still have to spend nearly the same amount of time going through the paper to actually make it sound human and not just like AI generated.
Yeah. But like, so our head of schools was talking about how like when AI was really new and like teachers had the opportunity to learn a student's voice, and then so when it was really new, the teachers had an opportunity to learn the student's voice, and then all of a sudden if there was like a really massive tone shift, like all of a sudden they like brought in this like really like well-worded essay, people would be like, excuse me, like something changed here, like sure. I think this is you.
You're saying in like a written paper.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Good clarification. But now that AI has been, and like ChatGPT and stuff, I think is like the primary one I'm referring to. But yeah, like now that ChatGPT has been out for a little while, like there are teachers that have been able, like students have been able to submit all of their papers using ChatGPT.
So you can't tell the difference anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I'm sure there's AI detection softwares out there, but like,
you just get the kids in a room and then just be like, all right, I want you to write me some stuff, right? And just see if they can even remotely be that eloquent, right?
Yeah.
This person seems like a genius, and
yeah. I mean, I don't know. You're a parent. Like, how do you feel about, like, zooming back out a little bit to just like overall technology? How do you feel about your kids using technology at school? Like, do you want them on tech or do you not want them on tech?
Yeah, I feel like I would agree with the same thing. I think it has its uses, and then I would try and stop at some point. I think technology can be fun, and there can be social media is fun, and so I think there's some things where it's complicated because you don't want to create a hard and fast rule either, because then it just feels like some sort of legalistic thing, and then everyone's just going to try to break through that.
Totally.
And you're probably not going to win that in that scenario. So I think it's a matter of almost teaching, and that's kind of why I like the idea of bringing it to class. I think you want to teach them just like, hey, here's the reality of social media. Like if you live on social media, you're like, I know those people. Like I have mentored some of those people. Like their life on Facebook is just like they're very disparate from what I know about them, and so. Not that anyone's saying anything out loud, and we're not talking about people behind their back or anything like that, but I think sometimes we tend to, not for necessarily good or bad reasons, put maybe a different perspective on social media than what might be reality. So some of those things could become complicated, and I think just technology in general can be fairly addicting, and anything that's addicting is probably not good for you. So it's like
probably not.
I can't think of a good thing that you would just be like. I mean, maybe water. I don't know, like running. Like I think there's a couple things you could be addicted to, but even that, like you could probably like get to the point where you're like, avoiding your family. Like I'm going to go run again, and I mean, everything has its limits. So I think to think of technology in a way of just like how can it be valuable, how can it add value to our life and our work and whatever, and then find time to disconnect and be with people when you're not doing that. And I think the next generation is going to be more complicated to learn that with video games the way they are, and it's weird. I feel like in even some of our kids, they'll be like, there's this weird thing, but they don't even want to get a car anymore.
Like, what is that? I was like so excited to get my license. Like that was like the pinnacle of my existence in high school. Yeah,
exactly. And so the only thing I've ever come up with yet is I think because they wouldn't go somewhere anyway, they don't need one.
Yeah, that's valid.
So it's like, what are they going to, they're just going to sit on Snapchat and just like
live their life online
and just like snap back and forth to each other. And if they were in the same room, it's what they do anyway. So it's like, what do I need a car for? I don't need to go to my friend's house to send her a Snapchat. So that's the only thing I can think of, but because like even our kids, I'm just like, you guys get your license and we'll get you a car. Like it's maybe not gonna be good, but it'll get you to from somewhere to somewhere else. Yeah. And they're just like, how's it going? How's the thing going? Yeah, but in our era, if I wanted to go see a friend, like I had to literally get in a vehicle or a bicycle or on my legs and go to them. So So definitely it's just an interesting time. And so
totally.
But I think if we can teach AI, and we're doing that with our customers now too, is a lot of times we're getting those kind of questions of how do we deal with AI? I don't want people just going in and being like, do my job for me. I don't want people taking our contracts that we're working on that are sort of, maybe there's intellectual property in your business that you just don't want to go in ChatGPT and be like, because some of that it gets saved into the algorithm and used for future training and things like that. So I think it's something that could be talked about. So the head of schools, they haven't yet thought about AI.
Well, it's not. No, I think
he is though, because it's like.
No, actually, I think he's like thought about it a lot.
Okay, good.
He's pretty wise guy. Like I think very highly of him.
I'm just like I just want like 4% chance that like he's like, man, maybe I should be thinking more about it. Like that's what I want.
Yeah. Well, and I think like he
trigger those ideas.
Yeah, totally. Like I think he would he did acknowledge like a lot of us aren't using, or like he posed the question. He said like, this is the question that I have and that I ask a lot. And I know the answer is no. Like, have schools thought about this topic of AI in a thoughtful way so that we can create avenues for students to use AI well and ways where we're making it not an option when we don't want it to be an option.
Right.
Like, have we thought about that in a really intentional way?
Yeah.
And the answer is no. Like, he acknowledged it. Like, he would acknowledge that.
I think AI is the next calculator.
Yeah, I could see that. That's a good analogy. I could totally see that.
Right. I mean, back, like, I I mean,
wow, that is such a good analogy, actually.
Right?
Yeah. I'm processing it as you're.
Yeah, it's good, right? Yeah. Because if you think back, and it's happened to me somewhat recently where you're like, oh, I have a nickel, but I don't like, you'll give them a 20 and it's like, 1705 and I'll give them a nickel or something, right? 1730 and I just want a quarterback. And so like you'll give them a nickel afterwards and they're just like, you can see their brain just shut down completely. Like, what do I do with a nickel? Like he gave me 20, which is more than enough to pay for something that's 1730. Like, what is this about? And it's like, do I cancel the entire transaction and put this in as a 2005? Like, I don't know what to do with myself now. And I have literally had to tell people like, you just need to give me back $3.25. And they have to believe me.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to figure it out and they're not going to cancel the transaction.
I'm not going to lie. Like, I would be that person. I'm like really bad at math. That's why I didn't go into sales.
I'm awful at math. That was the worst subject at math. When I was going through school, they could never tell me what math was for. Like I never had a good enough teacher to be like, here's what you're going to need math for. Like I use it now, but
I liked geometry. Like, so like now I like to build like furniture and stuff. Like that's pretty fun.
And you like to build furniture?
Yeah, like coffee tables or like I don't know. I'm building an outdoor couch right now. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I just like I don't know. It's random and fun.
Learn something new.
Yeah, exactly. My dad and I build furniture together. We have for like quite a while now. I like come up with a project like some harebrained idea.
Do you guys have a website? You guys sell your stuff yet?
No.
Now you do.
Yeah. Now that I'm on this podcast, we're gonna need to start.
You just launched it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Mike and Sarah's Furniture Creations. That's what we'll call it.
That's it. Oh, I thought you had like a thing. What is that even as an acronym? Is it good?
Probably not. Mike, MS.
Mike and Sarah, so MAS.
MASFC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like almost as bad as LHSAGM.
Yeah, it is. It's up there.
Yeah.
I have to shorten it.
So like geometry, that has an application in my life. Yeah. Like, I use geometry. Like I need to figure out what angle I need to build something so that it's like comfortable to sit on or whatever.
Right.
And usually it's like 90 degrees is kind of what you're looking for. So
45s are common in woodworking though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. 45s and 90s. That's like kind of it.
A good miter.
Yeah, a good miter.
It sometimes gets weird. I do some of that stuff too, not because I really wanted to, but because you just like, sometimes need a lot of furniture for whatever reason. You probably know a little bit of the backstory of that, and all of a sudden you're just like, I need to build like 3 beds, a table, a couple of chairs. And you got to figure it out. But yeah, you're right. It's a lot of 90s. And when you start, you're just like, I'm going to make this easy. I'm just going to butt join all my things and do whatever.
Yeah, totally.
It's way easier than.
Yeah. And then you start to learn that like, oh man, miters really do look a whole lot better. And then you're like, oh crap.
'Cause you can sand them and make it all look, you can almost make it look that doesn't exist at all.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I think that's a good analogy of like AI being the next calculator. Because like when I was in school, math class, like you're taking a math test, you weren't allowed to use a calculator.
Right.
Like that wasn't a thing.
Right.
You had to like learn your math facts. Like you had to be able to multiply and like know all of that, which I still don't know. So
it didn't work, but
it didn't work. Yeah. I probably still couldn't tell you what like 72 times 13 is without like getting out a piece of paper.
I wouldn't either. No. Yeah. That's. I'm good at multiples of things. You know what I'm good at is multiples of things that we do a lot. So like computer things multiply by 8 a lot. So I'm really good at that.
Oh.
Yeah, which is weird because people will sometimes be like, oh, 8 times 16, I can be like 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024. You
Whoa.
Can just, and so, but
that's the most impressive thing anyone's done all week.
It's not that good, but I've done that in reasons. People are just like, why do you know that? It's like,
I didn't know that like computer stuff was a lot of multiples of 8.
Yeah.
Like why?
Bits.
Oh, that does make sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you just start memorizing things in 8s just because you do it often enough. But
yeah.
So I think AI can be that sort of calculator where it's just sort of that thing where the generations before just knew how to do math and things in their head, and maybe it wasn't advanced math, but they at least knew how to do whatever. And then a calculator came out, and kids like me probably are asking the question, just like, okay, guys, we have a tool that can do this thing for me. Why should I learn it? Can you teach me something else? Can you teach me something different, something new? And if I need to do 72 times 4,685, I'm just going to go to a calculator and get it done, and then I can move on and do something else with my life. I don't necessarily need to do it. And it wasn't that much of necessarily a crutch, but like, how can it be a tool?
Yeah, totally.
So but no one told me like, hey, so there's going to be some times when you're not going to have a calculator, and you're just going to have to like be in a client meeting and know how to do some math so that you don't look like a crazy person that can't come up with. I probably can't say that on the internet. But you just can't always live like that, right? So
and I think like how do we teach kids to use and harness? Like not even kids. Like I'm like I'll be real. Like I don't know how AI fits into my life yet.
I thought you were going to admit something like, I don't actually do my job. I use AI for everything.
I will be honest though. Like I was writing an article for our magazine this morning and I was just like, I don't have a good starting place for this. And so like I want to be a really thoughtful user of AI and I don't want to just use it to replace me because I'll be honest, like that's a little bit of a fear. Like I feel like, the conversations around AI have been really prevalent so like I listen to news podcasts pretty much every morning while I drive to work. And I feel
Are you going to listen to your own podcast?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
That's a weird question.
It is weird to like listen to your own voice. So weird, I don't know. I might not be able to.
I've done this for enough time that even though it's weird, I don't notice it anymore.
Yeah. That's valid. But yeah, so like when I drive to work and I'm listening to my podcast, it's like AI is just such a common topic in the news right now, or at least on my news podcast. And I feel like probably 3 days a week, like there's some new headline or some new like added piece of the conversation around AI.
Right.
And like they talk a lot about like what is it going to look like? Is AI going to start to replace a bunch of jobs and all that kind of stuff? And that's nerve wracking. Like especially as like a graphic designer, I'm like, well, Adobe Illustrator already has like generative AI. Like I can generate an entire design and like what is my purpose anymore?
Have you ever used it though?
I have.
It's pretty gross sometimes. If you try to put words in there, it like misspells them and uses just like because Photoshop has that too, or is it I don't know if it's Photoshop.
I think Photoshop does too.
I feel like Adobe has like an online one too that you can like
probably
do generative things with.
Probably.
And some of them are actually still really bad.
Yeah. Like there's been some ways that I've used it in a cool way. Like I've used it to generate like, hey, I have this like inspo image of something that I would like my design to be somewhat similar to.
Okay.
And then I'll have it generate like something that's close to that.
But then you'll just take that idea and run with it yourself then.
Yeah. I mean, like definitely incorporate. Like I just used it on, I was doing something like a Mighty concert title was like Mighty Fortress.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, I love this like image that I found. And I really want to try and emulate that. Sure. But it was like very watercolor and like, I was like, this would take so many layers and so much time to create a design that like looks like this. So I put the inspiration image into Illustrator and I said, hey, generate something for me that looks like this. And it generated something that was really cool, like a really cool fortress. And then I like built that out as like probably max of 25% of my overall design.
Sure.
But like it gave me a really good starting point. Like I didn't have to do a ton of the legwork.
That's another interesting question is then who owns what AI has made?
That's such a good question.
Right.
That's such a good question. Okay, because the other thing I was going to say is this morning I was like starting to write an article for our summer magazine and I just like could not get over my brain block. Like I couldn't figure out where to start. And so I like asked ChatGPT to like write the intro paragraph of like an article about XYZ.
Sure.
And it wrote like a really good intro paragraph. It like wasn't my style, but I adjusted it and like kind of tweaked it and gave me a really good starting place. And then I was able to like, it just gave me the leg up that I needed to be able to like start the article. And I got like pretty far on it in like less than an hour. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like there's like this way that we can harness it. But yeah, that's a good question. Like who does own that? Like I technically didn't write that article, like paragraph.
But you probably wrote some of it now. Because you probably changed it.
Yeah, you change it. Yeah,
make it sound more like you. And
yeah, totally. I was like, some of these words, I'm like, I don't use those words.
Yeah.
So, and like I changed a lot of the stuff on the that fortress like that I had AI generated in Adobe for me, and yeah, but like who does own that? Like I used it as part of my design. Do I not own that part of that design? Do I not own that part of my article?
Right.
Like how much do I have to change it to make it unique?
Yeah, so it's Adobe Firefly is a thing I've thought of.
Oh, yeah. I have heard about that. I haven't used it yet, though.
It's kind of good and kind of bad at the same time. So I've used it for some things. But then that's the same question is I think I've used Firefly for some of those things as well, where I don't want it to do the whole thing, but I kind of want to get an idea or start it. And then you kind of change it and fix it. And again, it's not always perfect and the lines aren't good. And it's not even, sometimes it's kind of like muddy and you have to kind of go fix it a little. But then is it mine because I changed 25% of it? Is it, do I have to give credit to Adobe Firefly and their AI machine? Like, does it need credit? I don't know.
I mean, I feel like because it's like, I don't know, is AI kind of the property of those who use it? Like,
yeah, because it was like my ideas went in there. Like, hey, I need it to look like this. It has to incorporate this logo, that idea, this color scheme. Like I built the model.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of executed something.
So like it is your brain power.
Yeah. And it's the same thing as if I'd have gone to someone, like you said, it's the issue is like, I would have like a couple years ago probably gone to Fiverr and been like, hey, I'd probably hired 3 or 4 different people and I'd just been like, hey, here's a couple of ideas. Each one gives you 3 to 5 choices, and I probably would have done that. So it's a real world example where the thing I got, I was able to get out of AI and didn't have to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Which is, it is really
complicated.
Yeah, it is complicated. But I also think about too, like, someone said to me when I was like in college and stuff that at this point, like no idea is a new idea. And so like basically like the idea market is so saturated at this point that no idea is like fully new. Like everyone's like taking something that they've, experienced, something that they've seen, and then they're kind of like making it their own. So like, I don't know. I think it kind of applies to AI too. Like, and
in what way?
Because it is your idea, but you're probably going to change it a little bit. Like, I think if I'm asking ChatGPT to like write an entire magazine article for me and I like copy and paste it directly into the magazine, I'm like, well, okay, like, yeah, I told ChatGPT. Sometimes it's hard to say.
You can just call it AI.
Yeah, I told AI what I wanted, and it like, yeah, I have the idea, but like the actual work and the product isn't mine.
Right.
And so I feel like that's probably like where I would say like that break point is. Like if I don't do anything to edit it, if I don't do anything to make it my own, if I don't do anything like to make it unique to Sarah and my voice.
Yeah.
I also think that like that's a really great topic of conversation too, is like AI does have the power, I think, to steal people's voice away from them.
Sure.
Because we're using it too much.
Yeah.
And I just think everyone's voice is such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And like, if you're giving AI the power to like be your voice and your only voice, like what are you robbing from yourself? Like what are you robbing from your life?
And I think that's what we need to teach the kids, right? It's
yeah.
like, I think it's the calculator question is like, we have to have a good answer for why,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Why can't I just use ChatGPT? I don't care about this book report. I'm never going to use a book report in my real job. And it's real. It's a real, we have to have an answer to that question because it's real, because it's probably true. They're probably not going to write a book report. I haven't written a book report in, I don't know that I ever wrote one, to be honest. I think I just didn't do those and got C minuses or whatever. But we have to have an answer to kids as to why not use AI? Why does your voice matter?
Mm-hmm. And your opinion. Like I think that's where I can kind of see AI not being able to be used in the classroom, like in the future, and kind of the classroom moving more towards this idea that, hey, like as a teacher, I'm looking for you to tell me about your opinion on something, your opinion on this book, your opinion on this idea or this topic of conversation that we've kind of been reviewing in class. And like, tell me what your thoughts are about that, or how you're processing that idea, and how you feel like it applies to your life. Like, I feel like that overlap, like that really, like that heavy application, I feel like we probably are going to move more in that direction, because then you can't use ChatGPT or you shouldn't to like write your opinion for you, because that's technology's opinion. That's not your opinion.
Right.
But I think that the ways that we could harness AI well in the classroom, or just like in our jobs or whatever, is like, hey, can you, like I have this question on a worksheet that I have to answer, that I'm either going to go to my like book to find it, I'm going to go to the internet to find it, or maybe I ask ChatGPT, but then like, yeah, you've got to verify that, like got to fact check it. I mean, I'm sure AI really does know the facts, but
it's wrong a lot, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. I think we talked about it. I don't know if it was a podcast or one of our newsletters, but I think one of our newsletters, I went to ChatGPT and I was like, hey, ChatGPT, write me a June newsletter, right? Just like write it to me. And I just did it. So I just stood up and shot the newsletter, and it was just like, again, I was like, I think I told it, hey, give me, technology news and events from this month or last month, so that it's still somewhat current. And it was telling me things to talk about, like, oh, Elon Musk, just started this, boring company, and he just launched a a rocket and all these things. And I'm just like, it wasn't even in June. It was like 4 years ago. And some of the things that just kind of like, and I'm like, you want to try again with that one? This was probably a year ago now, so maybe it's gotten better since then. But it wasn't good. I couldn't have just like forgotten to do my homework, like done that, walked out the door and stood in, like, that would have been completely obvious that it was that bad. I feel like I've seen some things recently where someone asked, how do I, oh man, what was the joke? Something, how do I like thicken up my soup or something like that? And it just would come up with like the weirdest answers. Yeah. Of just like, yeah, like put hot sauce in it, or like stir it longer, or turn the temperature up to like, put it in an oven at 4,000 degrees. I don't know. It just, some of the answers weren't like
not accurate. Yeah.
Or not possible. So it is interesting. I definitely think there's that sort of responsibility. And I think it escalated so quickly we didn't have time. And I think some of the people in AI, I think, ask those questions a lot of times. Is like, we might need to pause and figure out how we use this and how to safely use this, because it's just going to ramp up, and if we don't have a plan of how we do this, it could turn out to be
challenging.
Something scary.
One thing that I've appreciated, my boss Christine, she like kind of when ChatGPT came on, and as a big player in the AI kind of industry, and like that was kind of the I don't know, that was like the hype. The hype was around ChatGPT.
I feel like the hype is still there.
It totally is. And kind of when that was like a big topic of conversation, she was like, hey guys, like you can use AI to, like, if you are struggling with, like, I mean, just in marketing in general, in communications, like you generate a ton of content. Like we are just like constantly generating content. And so like, she was like, hey, yeah, like if you're stuck, if you don't know like how to write that email, or like what you want to say in this newsletter, or if like you've got to write like if you've got to write an article for the summer magazine, you just don't know where to start, like have ChatGPT write you something, and then like use that, like generate ideas from that. And so I've appreciated her acceptance of AI, and like her encouragement to like, hey, you can use this as a tool to like make your job easier, but like obviously like there's a line, which we've talked a lot about.
Let's not use it as a crutch. It'll be more of a,
totally. So
cool.
I think it's been interesting. I am very intrigued to see like just in schools how that goes.
Well, and I'm glad to hear that someone's sort of open about that, right? That there's like a willingness to say, hey, I know this is a thing. We're not just going to ignore this as a thing. Feel free to use it. And here's up to the capacity that I would sort of feel comfortable with, that maybe it's going to help you, going to give you an aid. You know, you're in writer's block. You're feeling burned out. You're like, man, I wrote 10 articles this week and I am out of ideas. Like I can't even. So, I think those are things that you just be like, oh yeah, that's really actually a cool idea. Like how do kids use, basketball, takes 10 years off your life if you play it in high school every day, or whatever, like some weird thing. So, and I think then you could be like, oh, I can run with that. Maybe I can find an idea and I can go somewhere.
Yeah, totally. You're like in my brain though, because the article was about basketball.
Was it really?
Yeah, it totally was.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. So now I know you've hacked my computer. You've hacked my ChatGPT account. Like,
sorry. I can see the future or the past. Is it the past? I don't know. Whatever.
My really, really long 1Password master password.
That one, and the multi-factor authentication. We've hacked your SIM card, and
dang it.
It's bad.
Oh my goodness. Now I know all your secrets. Oh my goodness.
So, anything else on your list, Sarah? I think that was good. I like the.
I don't know.
Discussion.
Yeah, that was really cool. I don't know. Yeah, what questions do you have for me?
I don't know that I have any other questions. I do want to know about the deep fried cheese curd truck, though. I heard about that a little bit. There's this fly that's trying to get me.
Yeah, my husband's family, they own and run a deep fried cheese curd food truck.
So can you buy anything else at the cheese curd food truck? That's kind of hard to say. I almost messed that up.
Yeah, you really got to like deep fried cheese curd food truck. It's like 2 pairs of words or 3 pairs of words.
Yeah. Like, can you get like a hot dog?
No.
No.
It's literally cheese like
curds.
Okay, do you want a sales pitch?
Yeah,
I'm not very good at it anymore because like I haven't done.
Do they have a jingle?
No.
Deep fried cheese curd food truck?
No. But actually they are. I mean, this is going to come out since like way past when this event is happening, but they have an event tonight in West Dallas. So if you're looking for some cheese tonight, you can go get some. But there are a lot of like local festivals and stuff.
Stop a second. You said there's a cheese curd event?
No, well, we have a cheese curd event, but like we're just one of many people. You
guys are in like the Wisconsin Cheese Curd Association. Is there a similarly long acronym for the Wisconsin cheese curd food truck owners of America?
No, I don't think so.
No,
but they do use they use Ellsworth, Wisconsin cheese curds, which are the blue ribbon curds in Wisconsin for like many years running. Okay. So yeah, they like win every single year.
They get them fresh.
Yeah, they get them fresh, and then so they're the company name.
Do they still squeak when they're deep fried? Can you get them that
fresh?
They don't squeak anymore.
They don't squeak anymore, but like we get them fresh enough that if like I just eat one that's like raw and unbattered and unfried, they will squeak. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's pretty sweet. But
so that's where the squeaky cheese name comes from, right?
Yeah.
I said that recently, and someone's like, "Why do you call it squeaky cheese?" I'm like,
because it literally does squeak on your teeth. Yeah, because it's so fresh.
Yeah, I feel like everyone knew that, but
yeah. So did you know this is like so not technology?
Cheese curd facts. Yeah, that's fine. No, this is, you can't do too much technology. It's
boring. Yeah. Who wants to talk about tech?
Exactly, right. We talked a lot about AI.
Yeah. That cheese curds are like the first product, and then like they literally like to make a block of cheese, they just take like a bunch of curds and like smash them together and like press them into the shape of a block.
So if I eat cheese, I'm eating a curd that...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They've literally just homogenized it.
That's awesome.
Big word. But anyways, yeah, Say Cheese Curd Company. That's our name. You can find us on...
Say Cheese Curd Company.
Yeah, you can find us on social media.
That's how they would find the truck if someone wanted to come find the truck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got a website. You can find all our events on there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
are they the best cheese curds you've ever had?
Okay, yes.
Let's just assume that they're not going to watch this. So like...
No, they like legitimately are. And people are like, well, okay, but you're like biased because it's your family. And I'm like, no, but like actually they are legitimately the best. So they get the cheese curds fresh. And then they have a secret recipe. I've been married to my husband for 6 years in July, and I still don't know the secret recipe.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And I still don't know the secret family recipe for the batter.
Got it. Well, we'll hack that. We'll figure that out. It's kind of like the basketball thing.
Yeah, could you do that? Yeah. And they mix up the batter fresh on site at the beginning of the event, and then they hand batter every single batch in 5-pound increments. So like every single batch is like a small batch of hand battered curds that are fried. I just
love your excuse. If someone's like, they're just not, these can't be the best cheese, because you're like, no, but actually that's your answer. I love that it's like the parents' answer, like, it's because I said so.
Yeah. They like legitimately are the best though. They're like so good. Yeah. I when I don't have them for a little while, because so my in-laws do 6 months in Wisconsin, and then they take their cheese curd trailer down to Florida, and they do 6 months down there. Okay. And when I haven't had...
How do they get their blue butterfly cheese curds, or what did you call them?
The blue ribbon cheese curds from Ellsworth, Wisconsin.
How do you get Ellsworth cheese curds down to Florida?
They get them shipped. Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. They're still fresh enough?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're still really good. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, they're still really fresh.
They use airplanes or some other weird technology that we have.
Some technology.
Crazy.
They actually figured out how to, they put them on on something box. And it just like teleports it.
Oh,
that. Mm-hmm, very technical.
I thought you were talking about shipping. They they put it
in a box. And then they just put it in a truck. Yeah. No.
And it takes them 4 days to get it there, because they stop everywhere else before they get there.
Yeah. No. They get them down there, but I like Jones. Like I'm like jonesing for some cheese curds when they're like 6 months.
Yeah, when they're gone for that long.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just really want some cheese curds.
Have you ever almost gone to Florida to get them?
Well, we do go down and visit them usually once a winter.
But do you ever have an idea where you're like, I would almost fly there for cheese cuts? Like, would you go there? Would you like? I have weird ideas like that, so maybe it's just me, but
no, I think
I've had those ideas before. You were like, man, I have one of my favorite restaurants is in Florida, and I'm just like, what are the logistics of getting in a plane in the morning, eating dinner there, and then coming back? Like maybe
I definitely have had those thoughts.
Yeah. With the cheese curds, specifically with cheese curds, though.
I don't know. Probably not with the cheese curds.
So they're not that good. They're actually good. They're just not good enough to fly there.
Wow, I feel like you're just really downplaying these cheese curds.
I have to try them. I have to try them now.
You have to try them. Yeah, you have to try them.
I'm also crazy, so so maybe I would be the only one that would have that thought to be like, I wonder if I can find a way to get on a plane and get down there fast and to eat the cheese curds and come back.
Yeah,
I like.
It sounds like a lot of work to do that.
But see, the things I love those kinds of things because they make awesome stories. I was with some friends recently, and everything went wrong, and we were out trying to find something, and it took us an hour and a half to find the thing that they were telling me that was going to be easy to find. And they were like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, you know what? We will be talking about this and it was maybe more than an hour and a half. It's probably 6 hours. And they're just kept apologizing. And I'm like, this is the most hilarious thing that's happened in the past 90 days. I guarantee you, every time I hang out with my friends that are like that knew we were out on this mission, it's going to come up every time, and it does. And so I'm like, that's worth it for me. The fact that we didn't actually find the restaurant we wanted to for 6 hours was hilarious. We just walking around town aimlessly.
Yeah. I think like because I know I will like it's only every 6 months at a time that I have to like go without. So like I think that kind of keeps me from like doing something really like
rash and
buying a plane ticket. But I have definitely thought about that with like other foods. Yeah, for sure.
We might have a lot of Delta points here though, so it might like the actual cost of getting there.
You can send some of those my way. That's totally fine.
Sounds good.
So please do.
It's not. I'm not that crazy. It's just like I wonder if I can do it. So.
You asked me a question, or like you sent me one of the questions when we were kind of talking about what we were going to talk about, and you asked me what is the why or the mission behind the association, and have you seen the impact in the lives of high schoolers? Like, have I seen that impacting high schoolers?
Yeah.
And I just really want to talk about that.
Does that go for it? Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I've got time.
Yeah, because I think like brands are really cool.
I was going to ask about that too, but.
Well, yeah.
You can tie that into the...
Sure, sounds good. Yeah. Like brands are so cool because like they kind of tell you what an organization is all about. So our brand statement is we teach truth, Jesus makes all the difference. And our mission statement is share Jesus, shape lives, and develop leaders. And yeah, I don't know. I love our brand. I think it's really cool. I mean, Say Cheese has a really, really cool brand of being like all about cheese. Mm-hmm. But like cheese is really great. But it can only take you so far in life, you know?
Sure. All the way to Florida, obviously.
Yeah, all the way to Florida. But like the depth of the brand of the association, I think is honestly like one of the coolest things. Like I just feel really honored to be a part of the association. Like I feel honored by the work that we do because I do think like it is actually impacting lives. And like when I go into our schools, like every single day, I'm like, wow, this actually is what is happening. Like we do what we say we're going to do. And I love that. Like Say Cheese, food truck, like they do what they say they are going to do. Like they provide really good cheese curds. It's the only menu item other than lemonade, but like they do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
And people really appreciate that, you know?
You don't get a hot dog there, right?
No. Yeah. You get cheese. Like you get cheese.
Yep.
So yeah, kind of to tie that in, I feel like I work for a place where I feel like we really do what we say we're going to do. And we actually like are making a difference. And I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so the question I have about branding there is, as a non-brand marketing person, that's one of the skills I don't know that I necessarily have. But you're so branded that your website is your brand. So it's not, the website isn't LHAS, whatever it is, that, you know, and it's not the Lutheran, probably for email's sake, your domain isn't the Lutheran High School Wisconsin Association. But weteachtruth.org is the actual website domain.
Yeah, totally.
And your emails follow too?
Our emails are lhsagm.org.
Okay. So you own that, which is a shorter domain. You own that.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, we've like doubled down so much on that mission that like, we made it our URL. Like
that's awesome.
We are, That's like, so we kind of have Lutheran High School Association of Greater Milwaukee is like currently our business name.
Right.
But we oftentimes go by We Teach Truth.
I thought you were just going to go right into it. Like Lutheran High School Association of Greater Milwaukee is our name, but we teach truth. I thought you were going to like sell it right there.
I could have. That
would have
been cool.
That was close. I was like,
really cool.
I was like,
let's pretend I said that.
Yeah. I was like, we're just going to like end just stop the recording.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just like, I don't know. I think like you guys do a really great job here at CCA. Like I just think you guys do your work really, really well. Like you, like you are productive, you are efficient, you are secure. Like those are the things that you've kind of built your brand on. And like, I love that I can say that we do the same thing, and like that we do share Jesus, we do shape lives, and we do develop leaders. Like I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think we care about people, and I think you guys do the same thing, right? You care about the students, and I think that's not that it's not common, but it's not as common, and so I think that becomes noticeable, right? And so
totally. Like, this feels really weird to be like, oh, I'm gonna toot my own horn, but like. I was just chatting with...
Who else is going to do it?
Yeah, totally. I was chatting with a student in the hallway a couple weeks ago before the end of the school year, and she was a graduating senior, and she walked up to me, and she coincidentally, to give you a little backstory, her name's Camilla. She's awesome. Okay. And I was chatting with her like a few months ago because I was interested in, like talking to her on a video and like kind of having her be a part of a video, which actually she was. She was in our gala video.
Okay.
But I was just chatting with her about like her faith and about like how she kind of came to know the Lord. And as she's talking to me, she was like telling me about the situation where, she was sitting with a teacher and she just like had a lot of questions, and her teacher was just like willing to sit there and answer all of her questions. And literally as she's talking with me, she goes, "Oh my gosh, like I didn't realize, but I was an atheist before, but I'm a Christian now." Literally like said that. And
just figured it out.
Literally right then and there.
That's cool.
And I was like, what the heck? Like, this is why I do what I do. Yeah. So anyways, I was chatting with her in the hallway. She's graduating senior. And I was like, "Oh, Camille, like, have you decided which like major you're going to do yet?" She was debating between a couple and just like having a conversation with her and whatever. And she walked away, had to go to class or whatever. And the principal goes like, you really care about the students here. And I love that. Like, I loved just seeing what I saw. Like, that was just really cool. I was like, yeah, I do. Like, I love the students. Like, they're so worth every single, like, I don't know, they're worth like any hard day of work, right? Honestly. And like my job, honestly, it's super fun. So it's really not that hard. Like, I love what I do. Yeah. But yeah.
But it makes it easier when you have those tough days, right? I suppose.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I do it for students like Camilla, like that are just super, super sweet.
Yeah. And I'm sure it makes the teachers' jobs easier. Like, being a teacher is not an easy job, right?
No.
So,
oh my gosh.
That's a super complicated job to do. But I imagine them being able to have that same vision of just like, yeah, we care about these kids that much that it just makes it easier just to be like, we're just going to keep pushing through.
Yeah. No, our teachers, teachers deserve to make like more than a lot of people.
Yep. Yeah.
Because they do so much. Like, they're literally caring for
the next generation.
Yeah. Like, they're like spending 8 hours a day with the next generation, trying to like form them and shape them into being like decent human beings. Yeah. And like, parents do that too, and that's a huge load on a parent. Mm-hmm. But also teachers do that a lot too.
Yeah. So. And I think honestly the teachers have a cool role because often children get to some point in their life, or humans get to some point in their life where they almost like the sort of third perspective, right?
Totally.
Like I know what my parents have told me. Like, can I find someone that agrees with them?
Yeah.
And can I find someone that agrees with maybe how I feel or how? And so I think teachers are a huge impact on kids. And sort of their trajectory. So to have teachers that actually care about you and will sit down and sort of answer questions about your life and help you figure things out. That's really cool.
My husband works with college students, and then I obviously work with high school students. And we talk about like, especially because students are on technology so much, and it's such an integral part of like their life and their life experience, especially for students that were like in school during COVID and everything. Like, they just exist in this like virtual space, and oftentimes are like, not able, like you said earlier, like they're not driving to their friend's house and like sitting on Snapchat. They're like, they're sitting at home and they're on Snapchat. Like, they exist in a virtual space. And so I think like when you exist in this space of technology so much and so often, there's just so much competition. Like, there's so much competition for young people's minds and hearts and like brain space and like everything under the sun. And I think it's just like, that's just a really challenging place to be. And I think it's an honor to be able to, like, as a teacher or as a marketing professional that like works with schools and stuff, like as a parent, it's such an honor to be able to like help students navigate the world in a way that makes sense. Like, the third party totally does. It's a huge deal. Like, when I was in high school, I was like, I don't care what you say, Mom and Dad. Like, I want to make my own way in this world. Like, you know.
And you want someone that's going to give them still good advice.
Totally.
Right? Because your parents maybe would have given you good advice, but you're just like,
Yeah, like, ew.
Right.
Like, Mom, ew, Dad.
Exactly.
Like, gross.
Yeah, and it's funny. I think our kids have kind of turned the corner a little bit, where they just like they've gone out and they've realized that maybe some of the people's advice does follow. Like, it's just probably easier to ask my dad anyways. Like, it's just like, which is funny as they get older, but
they finally circle back.
Yeah, they circle back. Yeah, it is weird. Yeah.
Do they think you're cool?
Yes.
Wow. That's a big accomplishment, honestly.
I feel like I also act, so like, I feel like a weird combination of very responsible, but also like I enjoy like having fun at the same time. So I'm always like jumping on the trampoline and like playing darts. And so I just like, I'm like I feel like I'm a little kid sometimes at points. So it's like if they want to have like a really good dart match, like you want to have dad involved because like there's just, the energy level goes to like a new level.
Yeah. My dad is a dad of 3 girls.
Yeah.
And he like jokingly when I was in high school would say like, "Ooh, are we having girl talk?"
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It got to the point where he actually would like participate in girl talk.
That's me actually. Yeah.
It's and I like love that. Like parents just like being like, yeah, I'm gonna just like have some girl talk with my kid. Like
yeah.
Yeah. Let me hear about, which girls are really catty at school. Like
And you can help like redirect things too if they've got the wrong opinions about something.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about, Sarah, on your list? I think you did a better job of like following the script than I did, so that was good. I have the questions in front of me, but I just didn't.
Yes, you asked what my favorite brands are, but I'm curious what your favorite brands are.
I don't know that I have a favorite brand. I think the idea was, as a marketing person, I knew, and maybe the question was more around, like, is there a motivation for, if there's like an Apple or like, there's the brands about like Subaru, and it's just like you can say Subaru.
I am a Subaru driver, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, like if someone says Subaru, you're just like, okay, yeah, you like camping. You're just like, you know, like
dogs.
You have dogs. You just like, there's like an essence about, right? Like that.
Totally.
And so I was wondering, as you thought about brands and how you thought about how you brand and market and whatever, does some of that tie into it where you kind of create something? It's almost big. It almost becomes bigger than the brand, right? It becomes like a lifestyle thing, right?
Totally, it does. You're not wrong. Yeah, yeah.
And does that like, I don't even know if that even connects with the Lutheran High School things? Does that become a thing?
It does. Yeah, I find myself like, I think when you love a brand, you can love how a brand looks. Like, I really like Anthropologie, and like I think that their clothes look nice, and they're. For
a second, I thought you meant like not the clothing thing. I thought you were just like, sorry,
like a really big nerd, like a science nerd.
A little bit. I was like, whoa, this podcast is going to get longer.
No, like I really like Anthropologie. I like their clothes, whatever. Like I think they have cool style. I like their window displays. I think they're just like they're pretty,
At some level, it just feels like you.
Totally. And like they're very colorful. They have a lot of patterns. Like my nails are neon French tips right now. So like, they're just like colorful and fun. Yeah. And I like that. I like how it looks, but it doesn't really impact my life, And then you get to something like a brand that's like maybe a little bit deeper, like the Bucks. Like that kind of impacts my life a little bit. Like I love the Bucks. They have a really good brand. They're very unapologetic about their brand. Like they follow it really, really well. They lean into the brand of being like, I feel like they really lean into being like a hometown team. Sure. Like they're not, obviously they're an NBA team. So like they're on a really massive stage and everything, but they play into that brand of being kind of like those hometown heroes,
Sure.
In a way. And I really love that. Like, I think that that's really, really cool. And then you get to a brand that's even more, like even goes one step deeper, like the association. And like, when I came on to the association and I said yes to a job with the association because I really did believe in the brand.
Have you changed that brand since you've been there?
No. And honestly,
so the domain was already We Teach Truth. Like that was already.
Yeah. We Teach Truth makes all the difference. That's been our brand for, oh gosh, I don't know, at least 10 years. Okay. Because I think, maybe a little less than that. It's kind of was the vision of our current CEO, and he's been around for, I think, about 10 years. Okay. So, but he so believes in it and is such a visionary leader. And I think that's like one of the great ways to implement a brand really well is like you have a visionary leader that's like, hey, like this is where I see the direction of this place going. And like, they just like, it's just so easy to get on board with. Like, I do want to shape lives. I do want to develop leaders. Like those things are like just easy to get on board with,
Sure. You find someone that's passionate about something and makes it get a little bit easier, right?
Totally.
You're just like, I feel like he's really in love with this thing. Like maybe I should be too.
Yeah. And then you find yourself all of a sudden you've like I've fully adopted it. Like I've been around a year, but it like happened a while ago. Like I probably was only around for a couple months where I was like, I am a full adopter of this brand. Like I will fully support this till the day I die because it just is impactful. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? You went to one of our schools.
So from a branding perspective, you're saying?
Yeah. I guess brand, mission, vision.
I think I was, before there was any kind of branding. I don't know the association even existed. I think we were our own entity at that point.
Yeah, probably when you were a student. Yeah, we didn't have the association.
I don't know. I mean, it felt, it felt like a school.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that it felt like a family of schools or anything like that at that point necessarily.
What do you think about it now? Like you kind of engaged and you came to our gala.
I do feel like it has a better vibe now than what I would have been used to. So I think like the biblical stuff was there, but it wasn't prevalent. So I think it was like, oh yeah, there was a religion class here or there.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't. I don't know that it was like I don't think the brand was that specific to say like, hey, this is who we are.
Yeah.
I think it was just a Lutheran school.
Yeah. Do you think that like the addition of that brand of like we teach truth use makes all the difference? Do you feel like that like being so like going so hard after that brand and like
I think it's good
ascribing to that so much. Like, do you think that has added power to the organization? I'm not trying to lead you. Like,
probably. I'm going to go back to high school again. I did graduate.
Gonna go back to high school. That honestly does not sound fun to me. Like going back to high school. No. Yeah. No. Hard pass.
The funny thing is, would it be easier now? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I might
maybe.
Try it. If someone bet me, I might do it. But so I think the brand. I think it makes it better because there's a singular focus that makes it easier to see like what are we doing and where are we going, and I think that helps a lot. Where I don't remember, but again, as a 16, 17-year-old, if there was a brand or if there was a thing, I don't know that I would have been like, oh, there's a brand. You're probably just like get through school, so I apologize to anyone that's there if there was a brand. But I think the students probably hear the CEO say those things all the time and was on stage and say and whatever. So I'm sure it becomes more ingrained in them knowing that it's a thing. And I honestly, I think. If I think about it from one perspective, I think it almost helps everyone else, because I think it helps if you're just going to be like, if you want to get involved or donate or come to the event and help people, I think it helps to have that specific of a mission to be like, okay, is this something I want to get behind? And the sort of the tagline is like, yeah, I'm in, where it could just be like, we have Lutheran schools. You know what I mean? Like, because if you didn't have a brand, it would just be like,
we're a Lutheran school.
Yeah, whatever it is, there would just be like
we're a school. Marine School District or Arrowhead School District. Like, they have schools.
So I think from that perspective, it helps for outside people to be like, hey, can we get involved? Like, wow, that is a cool mission. I want to get behind that, because I think that's how people get behind missions is they have to know what they are. And I think that's one of my things about nonprofits. Honestly, is that I think the biggest issue for a lot of them is they're not good at telling you what they're doing or why they're doing it. And so you're just like, I would love to support you, but I literally don't know what you do. Like you can't just call and be like, hey, we like your support. For what? Yeah. What do you do?
Yeah, like, what are you going to do with my money?
Yeah, like I need you to like tell me the story. You need to pull up my heartstrings a little bit to be like, we are making a difference in these children and the next generation. This probably is coming out of your CEO's mouth, but like, if not you, then who? I feel like he's maybe even said those.
Oh, maybe
words, right?
Yeah,
like
I think he kind of has.
He would say. Not that I know him well enough, but and so I think it gets that question of just like, oh, maybe that's me.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry for the ASR moment.
No, it is really cool too. So like the article that I was writing this morning that I used ChatGPT to get me started on was on this student. His name is Isaiah. And I was just chatting with him and kind of interviewing him in preparation for the article. Yeah. And I was like, which honestly, like he is like the most humble high school senior I've ever met in my entire life. And it was like, I was like, who are you? You are a different breed of human. Like you are so humble. Like he set a career, like he set a record at the school, and like he played on varsity all 4 years. He's going on to play basketball in college, like all of these things. Like he has all of these reasons to have this really big ego. And he literally said like, he was like, well, I just think like it really, like we say around here, like share Jesus, shape lives, develop leaders. Like I feel like I want to do that, and I want to share Jesus with my teammates and with my schoolmates and stuff. And I want to help shape lives, and I want to develop other leaders. And like, if I'm going to help develop other leaders, like I'm the captain of the basketball team, like people look to me. And if I'm coming at it and I have this like massive ego, no one's going to want to follow me. Yep. Like I want to lead like Jesus leads.
You have to earn respect from people.
Yeah. And he was literally, I was like,
Did you start crying at that point?
Literally almost.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I'm an emotional woman, so.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're done here.
Yeah, totally. But it was just like beautiful, like to hear a student like articulate our mission, like, and
it's working.
Yeah, totally. And be like, yeah, like I know that, like I want to do this, and that people are going to follow me, and people followed Jesus because he was a really humble leader, because he was a servant-hearted leader.
Yeah.
And that's the type of leader I want to be. And I was like, oh my gosh.
He's like
tearing up.
And on that note, how do people follow the Lutheran High School Association of Greater Milwaukee?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah.
Segue into question 8. I didn't realize I had more questions than 5. My calendar was like small, so I didn't even see half the questions. So.
Oh, well, this guy.
It's a good thing you chimed in for me. Thanks.
I touched on a bunch of them for you.
Your screen's bigger too, so
yeah, it is.
I ran out of real estate.
Yeah. We're on social media.
Okay.
We teach truth. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
Those are our primary ones that we're on.
Okay.
But you can also follow our specific schools. So, like I said, we have 5 schools. If you have kids or cousins or neighbors or people that you kind of sort of like and you want them to be involved in a really cool school, in a really cool environment, you can...
this is perfect timing because people are graduating now, so they're probably getting ready for what's next, right?
Totally.
Maybe coming out of grade school and going to high school.
Definitely. You should enroll in one of our schools. They're really cool.
Awesome.
They're great places to be.
Yeah, I've noticed. I toured Milwaukee Lutheran recently, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
We hung out. It was
you were
cool.
there.
Yeah.
I remember that.
We sat by each other. You stole my chocolate croissant.
What?
Yeah, like we order Panera for when people come in.
I stole it from you, or like it was in there and you...
Yeah, and I take the chocolate croissant every single time.
Got it.
Because like that's my thing. Like I love a chocolate croissant.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I'm gonna hold it over you.
So now you have to invite me to another event so that I can not eat it.
Yeah, so that I can steal it from you. I was like,
I'm gonna watch this podcast back and we're gonna mail a chocolate croissant to your house. That's gonna happen.
I only live 5 minutes away, so you could just literally walk it over.
We'll drive it over there. Yeah. We'll find a way to make that happen.
Yeah.
No context, just sorry, chocolate croissant. Like your husband will open the door and be like, "Honey, there's a chocolate." What?
It's my birthday on Tuesday. You can
Is
send
it?
me one then.
Let's go, Silas. Make it now for me, thanks. Well, it's been great having you here. So people can follow the Lutheran High School Association of Greater Milwaukee.
Yeah, just we teach truth. You can follow
or that. Yeah,
truth.
that's just that is easier.
Yeah, it's way easier to remember.
I have been trying to memorize it, so I've been ready to just say that.
I honestly am pretty impressed. Like most people,
yeah.
I think when I started to try and remember the acronym, I had to say it in my name. Like I was like Lutheran L High School HS Association A. It was really hard,
and I don't have it written down anywhere.
Wow.
So, maybe I do.
I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. Yeah. But yeah. No, follow us on social media. We celebrate our kids really well on social media. So although
that's awesome.
I need to get out of the habit of calling our high school students kids because they probably would hate that. Yeah. They're not 18. They're not 18.
Yeah. I was that age. I don't think I thought I was a kid, but when you look down now, you're like,
I now
know why.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, we're close to Carol here, and even seeing some of the people come out of college, you're just like, I'm either really old now or these kids are getting younger.
Yeah. I think
I'm just getting really old.
Yeah. Although sometimes I do have the thought in reverse. Like I'm like, you're only in 8th grade. Like you look like you could be like for sure in high school.
Yeah. So maybe they just stop. They grow to like their 8th grade and they stop until they're like out of college.
Yeah, maybe.
They peak out at 8th grade and then stop.
Yeah.
Stop growing until they start getting gray in their beards.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, it's been awesome having you here, Sarah. Is there anything last comments you want to say before I think we're way over time now. Not that we have a time.
Yeah, probably. No, I think.
I think we expected that though. You were like, I have a lot of notes. We're going to talk about a lot of things.
No, I said I was going to.
Oh, you made notes so that we didn't go long.
Yeah. Well.
So it would have been 2 hours if you wouldn't have been keeping us on track.
I blame you. You talk a lot too. This is a joint endeavor.
I did go on a deep fried cheese curd food truck.
Yeah, you did.
Tangent for a while.
Yeah.
So that was however long that is on me.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Well, no, thanks for having me. I appreciate being here. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been great having you, and obviously go follow the Lutheran High School Association of Greater Milwaukee / weteachtruth.org. And thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks.
Yep. We'll see you on the next one.
Mm-hmm.